Okay. So the first one. Ooh. Here we go. Look at the first one. It says a sprinkler rotates 90 degrees and projects water at a radius of 30 feet. What area, so keyword there, what area of grass is watered by the sprinkler? So I've got a sprinkler and it's right here and it's going to send out water. And it says it has a radius of 30 feet and it's sending out water and then it comes back around to 90 degrees and then it goes back and then it waters again. Okay, and so it's watering all of this area. And they want me to figure out what is the area that it's watering. So you're going to use your area formula. You're going to do your angle measure over 360 times pi times my radius squared. So my angle measure is 90. You do 90 over 360 times 3.14 times 30 squared. So you're going to punch that into your calculator. My calculator has disappeared. Oh, there it is. We're going to punch that in 90 over 360 times 3.14 times 30 squared, which is going to give me 706.5. 706.5.
How'd you do on your calculator?
I did 90 divided by 360 times 3.14 times 30 squared. You can put it in as a fraction, but it's probably going to give you a fractional answer. So I would just put it in as division and then let it give me my decimal answer.
So what's that?
What's what?
Above it, like that 0.
That means angle. So that's the formula. You do your angle measure over 360 times pi times your radius squared. For area, there's another formula for length. We'll get to that in just a minute. Okay, let's look at number 2. So word problems, we got to think through. If a minute hand on a clock is 6 inches long, so let me draw my clock here. Okay, so I got 1 and 6, 9 and 12. No, 12 is up here. What in the world was I doing? That's 3 and that's 6. That's 9. I was right on 9. Okay. Let's redo our clock. My clock looked terrible because I was like trying to do it wrong. 12, 6, 3, 9. Okay, now it's right. Okay, it says if the minute hand on a clock is 6 inches long. So my minute hand is 6 inches. And it says find the distance it travels in 20 minutes. Well, if it travels for 20 minutes, what number does it land on? If it's at the 12, where does it go to? It goes to the 4, right? Okay, so it goes from the 12 to the 4. So what we're going to do is that when I divide a clock up, I'm dividing it up into 12 sections, right? If I would divide up each of my 5 minutes, I would be dividing it up into 12 sections. Okay, you can do that. Or, okay, this is 20 minutes. How many minutes is it all the way around a clock? 60. So if I want to find this angle measure, you're going to do 20 divided by you're going to do 20 over 60. Okay, that's 1/3. So 20 minutes is 1/3 of a clock. So you're going to multiply that times 360. That means that's 120 degrees. Okay, that's one way to do it. Okay, is to take this, find out what fraction of the clock this is. So you do 20 over 60 That's a third. 1/3 of 360 is 120 degrees. Another way to do it, because you may have more of these problems somewhere, another way to do it is to figure out how many degrees each time it goes to a number it is. So for an example, you would take and you would go 360 divided by 12. That gives me each clock number is 30 degrees. So every time I go to a number, I'm going 30 degrees. So in this one, I do 30, 60, 90, and then that would be the 120. So you could do that either way. You can either find out like what fraction of the clock this is, or you can take 360 degrees all the way around. Every number is 5 degrees. So I do, when I get to the 1, I'm sorry, every number was 30 degrees. When I get to the 1, that's 30. When I get to the 2, that's 60. 90, that's 30 more, so that'd be 120 degrees. So what I found out is that this is 120 degrees. The length of my clock arm is 6 inches. It wants to know the distance that it traveled. So from here to here, how far did it travel? So you're going to do 120 over 360, and this time you're using your distance formula, or not your distance formula, you're using your length formula. So you're going to do 2 times pi times your radius. So you're going to do 120 over 360. You need to be doing this with me. Times 2 times 3.14 times 6, which is your radius. And that's going to give me 12.56.
How did you get to 120 again?
Okay, so draw my clock out one more time. Okay, if I take a clock, this is probably the easiest way to show it to you. If I take a clock and I divide it with my numbers that it has on the clock, it divides it up into 12 pieces. Do you see that? Okay, so 360 degrees is all the way around the clock. So do 360 divided by 12 is 30. So each of these little sections is 30 degrees. See what I'm saying? So I'm going to the 4, which is right here. That's my 4. No, that's my 4. So that's 30, that's 30, that's 30, that's 30. So 30, 60, 90, 120. Like I'm doing 30 times 4 because I'm doing 4 sections. That gives me the 120 degrees. Okay, looking at number 3. If a pizza has a diameter of 12, so be careful here because this time they give me my diameter. My diameter is 12 inches. All of my formulas use my radius. So if my diameter is 12, what is my radius? 6. Might be a good idea to go ahead and change that when you start. Okay, so this time they say that the pizza is cut into 10 slices. What is the area of one slice? So I'm looking for area. So I'm going to be using that formula that I just used up here. Pi times my radius squared times my angle over 360. So let's figure out, the key to this is figuring out how many degrees. So if I cut my pizza up into 10 slices, it's kind of hard for me to draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if I cut my pizza up into 10 slices, I need to figure out how many degrees is one slice. How do I figure out how many degrees one slice is? How do I find the angle measure right here? Right, you're going to do 360 divided by 10 to find that angle measure. So I'm going to do 360 divided by 10, which is going to give me 36 degrees. So each of those little pizza slices are 36 degrees. And then I already have my radius. My radius is 6. So I have the information I need. So I do 36 over 360 times pi, because this time they want area, so you have to use that formula. And then I'm going to do times my radius squared. My radius is 6, so I do 6 squared. Okay, you're going to punch that in. And you should get 11.304. I'm just going to round it off to 2, so I'm going to get 11.30. Okay, we're going to do one more and then I'm going to let you work for a little bit. Number 4, if a cookie has a 6-inch diameter, so if it has a 6-inch diameter, let's go ahead and change that. What's the radius? 3. And is split between 4 friends. How many square inches of cookie does each friend receive? So if it asks me for how many square inches of cookie does each friend get, am I looking for a length or am I looking for area? Area. Okay, so I'm doing area here. That's important to know. Okay, and if I'm splitting it between 4 friends, okay, so here's my cookie. We're splitting it up between 4 friends. Let's hope it's a big cookie. Okay, how many degrees are each of these sections going to be? How would I find out how many degrees each section would be? Yep, 360 divided by 4, which is going to give you 90. Okay, so you have your information now. This is a 90-degree angle, and my radius is 3. So I'm going to do 90 over 360 times 3.14 times my radius squared. And that gives me 7.07. Okay, we're going to talk about these. I'm going to let you work on them by yourself in just a minute. So let's look at them together. Number 5, Sarah is running a relay race on a circular track that has a radius of 6. Her teammate Emma is standing at a 93 angle away. How many meters does Sarah need to run in order to pass the baton to Emma? On this, am I looking for length or am I looking for area? Yes, you're looking for length on this one. So I'm going to put an L there so we'll remember we're doing length here. Okay, and they give me my radius and they give me my angle. Look at number 6. Ben is riding a Ferris wheel at the fair and has a 30-foot radius. While loading the riders, the Ferris wheel stops every 20 degrees. How far does Ben travel each stop? So am I looking for length or area? Yes, I'm looking for length. I'm looking for how far is he traveling each time the Ferris wheel goes around. So I'm looking for length there. Okay, number 7, a 20-centimeter pendulum rotates at an angle of 30 degrees. How long is the arc that it makes? Am I looking for length or area? Length. Okay, still looking for length. It's looking for how long is the arc that it makes. Now, is the 20 centimeters your diameter or your radius? You got a pendulum rotating. It's your radius. You're right. Okay, because you've got, it's suspended here and it's rotating back and forth and back and forth. So this is your radius. Oops, 20. Okay, number 8, a circular garden has a diameter of 7 feet. So be sure you change that, even though it says diameter, it's supposed to be diameter. Has a diameter of 7 feet. If Sally wants to plant flowers around 2/3 of the perimeter, how many feet of flowers should she plant? Okay, is this length or is this area? This is length because she's just planting them around the perimeter. Now, if it said she was going to cover 2/3 of the flower bed, that would be area. But this one is asking she's just going to plant it around the edges for 2/3 of it. So this is actually going to be length also. Now, One key thing here is this is divided into thirds. So we got to figure out, that's terrible thirds there. Okay, we got to figure out what my angle measure is. How do I find out what the angle measure is if this is 2/3? How do I find out my angle measure if they said that it's 2/3? 2/3 of my angle measure, what would that be? What do I do with my 2/3? I'm going to multiply it times 360. You're going to do 2/3 times 360 to find your angle measure. And that's going to give you your angle measure here is 240. That's going to give you your angle measure is 240. And then from there, you're going to use your equation to solve for that. Okay, so you're going to work on these and finish them up. If you didn't finish what you were supposed to finish last night for homework, make sure you have that done because I'm taking these tomorrow sometime to check. So if you didn't finish up the other stuff, make sure you do that. No, I'm just going to, hold on, let me stop.